Hey guys, welcome back. Before we start the tutorial, I want to go over some of the supplies that you will need for this project. To start with, you will need an orange crochet tutu top. These are also known as waffle tops. I will leave a link down below for where I purchased mine. And I am making a size 4T today. I also will leave in the description box some sizing suggestions so you know what to buy. You'll also need ivory tulle, and I got this from Paper Mart. This is a 100-yard roll of ivory. And then I got a 25-yard roll of the old gold, also from Paper Mart. I did end up using the entire 25-yard roll of the gold, and I used about 3/4 of the 100-yard roll for the ivory, and I'm making a size 4T today, just to give you an idea. You will also need Moana print or Moana inspired fabric. This one I purchased from a seller on Etsy, and it is sold in a fat quarter. That seems like a little because it was kind of pricey, but you can get about 2 dresses out of 1 fat quarter and a few hair bows. You'll also need a gold toned satin ribbon in 1.5 inch. I got this one in butterscotch, also from Paper Mart. And then a 7/8 inch gold ribbon as well. And I purchased this one, I believe, through Gifts International. I will leave a link for that website down below as well. I purchased this package of raffia, I think that's how you say it, I'm not sure. You can find this at Walmart or your local craft store. I will also be using black glitter craft foam. This one I purchased at Walmart. These are 33 cents, and this is the brand. In addition to that, I'm going to be using this teal or turquoise glitter canvas fabric. They also sell those foam sheets in this color, but I just happen to have this canvas fabric on hand. And then the last little detail would be some rhinestone mesh, or you can use pearls or seashells or something close. This is what's going to go across the chest. To make the bodice for the dress, I did forget to mention you'll need a piece of felt. The one that is going to be covered by the fabric, it doesn't matter what color. I did not have 2 sheets of orange felt, so I'm using a yellow. And that piece of felt, you want that to measure so that it fits across the mannequin, across the chest. So you want to cut the felt piece to the size that you want it to be in the end, and then you want to cut your fabric about 3/4 of an inch to an inch wider on all sides so that we have enough of the fabric to cover the felt. Using your glue gun, going one side at a time, you're just going to place some glue along the edge and then carefully fold over your fabric. Don't worry about your corners. As we go through covering this piece of felt, they will pop out, but we will cut off those corners at the end and they will not be seen. So don't worry about that. You'll want to just continue all the way around every edge, covering that piece of felt with your fabric. So I'm going to just speed through the rest of this, and then we will move on. So I've completely covered my felt piece, and as you can see here, the corners are popping out. And because we're going to be placing this directly onto the dress, I'm just going to cut off these corners so that they're not sticking out on the sides. I did already place all of the tulle on my dress. If you need details on how to attach your tulle, I will leave a link down below to a few of my other videos where I do show that step. And what I did was about 80% of this dress is ivory, and then I did a gold color block off to the side. That gold section is 12 rows of the gold, and I did 2 strips of tulle per hole on the first layer, and then 1 strip of tulle per hole on the top layer. Before we attach anything to the dress, I want to add my halter strap. Using the 7/8 inch gold satin ribbon, I'm going to take a long strip of that ribbon and fold it in half. And then I'm going to take that folded edge, find the center of my top. Okay, so right there is the middle. I'm going to put that folded edge through the second or third row of holes from the top. And then you see it comes out the top end. Open that loop and then pull your ribbon through. Now we want a solid base for us to attach the fabric bodice to. And this is exactly how I measured that yellow piece of felt as well. While my dress was on my mannequin, I just pulled it across tight to determine how wide and how long it needed to be. So I would just cut off that excess right there and then along the top. But since I did already make my bodice piece, I'm just going to cut my orange piece of felt the exact same size as this. I've cut my orange piece of felt to size, so I'm going to undo my halter strap and then roll down the top so that I can more easily put this piece of felt underneath. And yes, my mannequin is disgusting. I'll get a new one soon, I promise. All right, so I want to position that so that it's even on both sides, and then very carefully pull my crochet top over, making sure not to create any folds or wrinkles in the felt. So you want to keep that tight against your mannequin. And once you have that in the right spot, then we can glue down the top piece. To glue down the fabric, I'm going to be starting on one side and work my way over, just as we do in all of my other tutorials that involve hot gluing a bodice. So starting on one side, I'm just going to take my glue gun, making sure to get in between all of those holes, and I'm gluing directly onto that felt piece that we put underneath. You will need quite a bit of glue for this, probably about 6 or 7 mini glue sticks. Make sure you press down firmly before you move on to the next section. You don't want this to be peeling away as you're moving across the top. I also make sure to press firmly as I go along so that there are no wrinkles or folds as I'm gluing this across. I want it to be smooth and flat. So pulling that back once it has dried, I'll do another maybe about a 2-inch wide section at a time, continuing to pull that fabric tightly across and then pressing down firmly so that there are no wrinkles. You also want to make sure to keep this in line with the bottom portion, or that bottom line of the dress, so that it's even all the way across. I have completely attached my bodice, and now we will move on to the raffia strings. After taking it out of the package, it comes out in a big bundle like this with really, really long strands. I just take about 2 or 3 strands at a time at its full length, and I'm going to tie that onto the dress. So I'm folding it in half just to make it easier to get through the crochet holes, as I will show you here. So folding that in half, I'm taking that folded side, and if you pull on one of those knots, one of those tulle knots, you'll see the hole right above it. So I'm going to stick that folded end in through that hole and come out of the hole right underneath it. So I'm pulling these back out in between my 2 knots of tulle, between the first and the bottom layer. Oops, missed one. Once you have your strands through, you're just going to tie this in a double knot. Super simple to do, and adds so much more to the dress. So I'm going to do a double knot and then trim that down so that it is the same length as the rest of my dress. And then I'm going to skip about 9 rows of tulle before I put on the next section of the raffia strings. And again, I'm just going in through the hole, out the bottom hole, and then tying a double knot, and then trimming my ends to be the same length as my dress. And you're going to do this all the way around. So this is what it looks like once you've attached all of your strings around the entire bottom portion of the dress, and I absolutely love this little detail. It just adds a lot more for little to nothing and not a lot of effort. So the next step here is going to be to add our sash, and I'm using that 1.5 inch gold or butterscotch satin ribbon. You're going to want it long enough that once you tie it, you still have some length off the ends. So cut yourself a decent amount of that ribbon. And then tie a loose knot over to the side. So we're not doing a bow or anything like that. This is just going to be a loose knot sash off to the side. So I'm just loosening that up a bit so that it hangs. And I will be leaving the edges of my ribbon straight across, so I'm not cutting them at an angle. I'm just leaving them straight across, and make sure to heat seal as well. For the pendant, I used my black glitter craft foam and cut out an oval pendant shape. You can cut it as big or as small as you'd like. And then with the turquoise glitter fabric, I cut like a little wave off of a little piece. I'm going to glue that down to the pendant and then trim it to size. So I glued that down to the top or to the bottom part of our halter strap there. And then this last little detail, I'm going to take that rhinestone mesh trim that I had shown you at the beginning, and I'm going to be draping this diagonally across the chest. On Moana's costume, she has like seashells or like this pearl embellishment that goes across, so you can use any material that you'd like for that. To attach my rhinestone mesh, I'm going to start by just gluing a section at the top of my strand, and I'm going to attach that to the top right corner of the bodice. I will be attaching this at a downward diagonal angle, and I'm not going to glue each part, just the top, the middle, and the bottom. So right here, I'm just adding some glue to the middle. And the reason I don't want to glue down the entire strip is because I don't want it to be too tight. I want it to hang a little bit. And then you'll just place some glue on the bottom end and attach to the side. So here is the final product. I love it. I love it. Moana is super popular right now, so this is a fun little project for you and your princess. You guys can do it together and have a beautiful handmade costume for this Halloween. I hope you all liked it. If you have any recommendations or suggestions for other characters that you would like to see, please leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future tutorials. Thanks for watching.